Good day everyone and welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be discussing One Piece chapter 1032. But before we begin, the whole manga chapter this week we had a lot of One Piece news, so I'm going to just run through some of the stuff. So I'll put timestamps down below so you can skip ahead if you just want to drop or jump straight to the manga review. If not, first we're going to be discussing the One Piece movie that was recently announced this week. So yeah, let's talk about that first. So officially we got word that One Piece film Red will be releasing on the 22nd of July, I believe. On the 20th. I have the poster somewhere here, so I'll throw up the logo and the poster on both sides so you can see. But this movie is going to be focused around Shanks, because even in the title, the logo for it, there's a scratch over the eye. And we also got a teaser for it. But this movie is supposed to focus on Shanks. We don't know if it's going to be canon or out of the canon, but we'll see. Next thing is last night for One Piece episode 1000 we got a teaser for the movie and there was a lady featured in it, so that picture should be right somewhere here. She's supposed to be one of the centers of the movie or focuses of the movie, so we'll see what her role is. Apparently it's something to do with singing or her voice, so we'll see. So yeah, that's the first part of news. Second part of news now is One Piece episode 1000 was last night and it was pretty good. The animation was good. For the episode, of course, they did some callbacks, like We Are the original opening. They redid it with the current crew and art style, and uniforms and outfits and all of that for Wano. And of course Kaido and Big Mom and clips of everyone from Wano in there as well. So that was pretty good. That was a nice callback to episode 1 and not 1000. Who'd have thought we'd have been here after 20 something years still watching One Piece, right? But that aside, the episode focused on, well, at least the first half of the episode focused on moving forward, and the second part of the episode was the build up to the big grand ending shot, which I'll show on the screen in a while. But basically throughout the second half of the episode we got just glimpses leading up to the big finale of the pose with the crew, and that entailed each one of the members using their attacks and coming together. And we saw in them doing that, we saw when each crew member was highlighted, we saw them as a kid, like how Oda usually draws them, and then some callbacks from all the way early One Piece up until now, showcasing kind of like a growth. And then we got their bounty, so we got that for everyone. And it was really cool when it was Usopp's turn, because we saw him fire off his exploding bomb, and when he fired it, it turned into a skull with 1000 over it, and he said this is for a special occasion. So that was pretty cool. And of course we had no kind of end credit scenes for this episode. The anime itself, the episode ran through the credits on the screen, and then the episode ended with the big team pose with all of the team, or the new fully realized team with Jinbei having their great team shot there. So that was pretty dope. Next, now let's jump straight into the chapter. So again, we had the One Piece film Red news, we had One Piece 1000 news, we also got, I think, the One Piece live action news last week, which I covered already, so I should link that up here somewhere. So feel free to click the tab somewhere up here if you want to hear about that. So yeah, now let's dive straight into the One Piece chapter 1032 review. Of course, spoiler warning before we begin. And yeah, let's begin. So this title is titled Odin's Beloved Blade, and this chapter was wild with the memes on Twitter. But essentially the first part of this chapter is a cover page that was requested, no cover story yet, and it's basically Yamato and two black cats delivering food. And the little lady at the top seems to be someone from Ebisu Town, if I'm not mistaken. But we jump straight into the chapter now. So, the chapter basically starts off with Marco and Izo. And Marco is asking Izo, why am I carrying an injured man around? And Izo is basically saying that that message from earlier kind of has me thinking, it has me worried about this big apparition. So I want to go see what's going on. So Marco and Izo fly past Big Mom and they're heading over there. We then see Big Mom in one of the panels there, I guess still fighting with Kid and Law. And we see some of the Beast Pirates seems to be trapped in a room and they're trying to escape with their cannons because they don't want to be burnt alive, and Samurai keeping them in there. So brutal, but yes. Now we jump straight into the whole Apu Drake situation again, and we see Apu and Drake are there. Apu is running down Yamato trying to talk to her. Drake is telling her if she doesn't listen, and Yamato is saying I'm busy. And while she's running, we see Fuga, because we know he was chasing after her. We see Fuga side by side with her now, and it seems that Yamato knows Fuga. They seem to be friends. But the interesting thing about this is Fuga is a minotaur, it seems, because his upper body is human, he has horns, but his lower body looks to be horse-like or ox-like. So minotaur, centaur, something to that effect. And while they're running to get to the basement, we see from the sky something falls and lands on his head, boop, on Fuga's head, and it is Brooke and Robin trying to escape from CP0, and they thought they landed on a cushion, but it's here, and they're still being chased by Kaz and Bon. And while the CP0 members are coming down after them, Kaz and Bon actually hits the two CP0 members and lights them on fire. But this is where it gets interesting, because Yamato sees the big ghost and she's wondering like, what's going on, why is this, what is this? And she finds out that basically the ghost is going through, it's not like a physical, usually Kinemon's creatures that he draws, not Kinemon, sorry, Kanjuro's creatures are like physically solid beings or objects, but it seems the ghost actually has like the ghost-like abilities, so it can literally pass through walls, and while it passes through walls, of course whatever it touches bursts into flames. So this ghost has just been going downwards for a while, lighting every floor on fire while it goes downwards. But Yamato is trying to figure out what to do, and she takes off again and she says Fuga, she needs his help. She asks Fuga for help and the two of them take off. We then see the CP0 members hit the ground on fire, but they get up and brush it off. And when they're brushing it off, like, nothing too serious, Apu appears, and not gonna lie, Apu is main man number one. He cares about himself and his money, and that's a plus always. So Apu pops up with his camera, snapping shots at CP0, and he's like, the dogs of the celestial dragons are here. This is interesting. Maybe I could sell these pictures to Big News Morgans for some money. And while he's doing that, one of the CP0 agents, I don't know his name, the one with the mask, let's just call him the leader, because I assume he's the leader. He attacks Apu with what seems to be Shigan, because we see his finger bloodied, and he hits Apu and Apu falls down. And same time Drake arrives, and he looks at Drake and he's like, X-Drake, do you think we're not aware of exactly who you are? And Drake was like, well, why don't you start making some excuses then? The man is like, inconvenient truths are meant to be erased. And he's about to attack Drake, because we see Drake with his axe, quad axe. I'm gonna call it a quad axe. His quad axe and his sword preparing to block, and then we hear boom, and we see Apu actually hit him with an explosion to save Drake. But Apu gets up and Drake was like, oh, you're still alive? I thought you was dead. Apu's rebuttal is, you idiot, I know how to use a little thing called armament haki, you know. I'm not that stupid. And essentially this leads to an interesting moment because we have back and forth between Drake and Apu again, but essentially Drake is like, shut up. He tells Apu, shut up. Are you in or out? They started this fight. And Apu, yes, they started this fight. But Drake is like, no, you did. But basically, Apu says he's in, and him and Drake team up. So Drake turns into his Allosaur, and Apu seems to have kicked the other tall, lengthy, sleepy CP0 guy in the head. His mask is kind of sleepy though, right? So I'll call him Sleepy and next one Leader. So Drake goes after Leader, Apu goes after Sleepy. We then cut outside Onigashima and we see Momo just trying his best. Not gonna lie, this chapter was hilarious. Momo is trying his best to keep clouds forming, and we see King flying in the air. This is the part of the chapter that got memed so much, it's just hilarious. King holds the back of his Petrodon head and he pulls it back like a slingshot and he makes this face. This face is hilarious. I'll trade up on the screen. Memes for this face. Gold! He pulls back his face basically and lets it go. And the name of this attack in the unofficial is Tempura Udon, but here in the official it's called Imperial Deep Fried Steak. So basically he slingshots his head into Zoro. So and he pulls it back, it slingshots straight forward. And Zoro barely dodges it and he says it's like a laser beam. But this I'm sorry for laughing so much, but basically King says this is how in the prehistoric days Petrodons hunted their prey. So Oda is having fun with all these dinosaurs because Queen turned into a snake. Queen turned into a snake. The Triceratops that Sasaki was also a helicopter. And now King shoots his head forward. But Zoro basically dodges the attack and he's like, I had no idea that's how they hunted the prey. And Zoro is trying to get King down, but he also mentions, he's like, so I'm guessing that that flame on your back is part of Petrodon as well. And King is like, no. And Zoro's like, what? And Zoro is basically saying that, you know, I'm tired of him flying over me, I need to get him down somehow. And he uses Black Robe Twister Dragon or Black Robe Dragon Twister, and King just blocks it with his wings, no damage whatsoever. And Zoro is like, so basically a dinosaur and a dragon are the same, right? They both could take a lot of damage and very steady. And King is like, yeah, basically, but in my case it's a bit different, I go a bit beyond that. And then King transforms back into his human form and lands by Zoro and he begins to fight and he says, I'll give you a duel because I'll give you a sword fight then because I enjoy a good duel myself. And while they're clashing, Zoro is thinking to himself, what kind of race, what race is King? And this got a lot of memes as well. But he's like, what race is he? Is he a fishman? And I'm just like, Zoro, he flies, he can't be a fishman. And then he's like, or is it giant's blood? Or is it something new that I don't know about? Whatever it is, basically in order to beat him I need to figure this out. And Zoro is knocked back into a wall. And while he's on the ground, he hears a shamisen. And when he hears the shamisen, Enma starts to react. And if you remember earlier on in the arc when he got Enma, it sucked all the haki out of his hand and turned it into a shriveled up type of arm. So the same thing happens again. And Orochi now is in the treasure room and he hears the shamisen as well. And he's like, why would this be going on in the middle of this big war, this big battle? What's going on? So he peeps through the door to see what's going on and he sees Komurasaki and he's like, am I dead? Am I dreaming? If this is a dream, I don't want to wake up. And Komurasaki responds and says she's been missing him since the day that she was killed. And the chapter ends there. And of course no break next week. So we set for more action, I guess. But this was an interesting chapter. The meme is gold. But I'm interested to see where it goes because someone said that I read that out of all the Straw Hats now, it seems that Zoro is the onlyest liability with regards to air fights because at this point Luffy could fly using Gear 4 to take down enemies in the air. Sanji could use Geppo, but Zoro is stranded on the ground. So if the enemy flies kinda like this, there's no way for him to reach the enemy unless someone throws him or he begs the enemy to come down. And we saw the same thing when he fought Pika. He had to be thrown across the island to slash him. So hopefully get some type of power up to help with that. But anyway, that aside, this was a good chapter. It was funny. It was gold funny. So I enjoyed it. I hope you all enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts down below. And if you're new here, please consider hitting sub, hitting like, and I'll see you all next week for the next chapter. Bye.